Okay.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be
You're all
just
on screen,
minutes
so look
away?
up, everybody. Everybody can
Welcome
see you.
to Technology Revolution, the future of now.
Now.
Where host Bonnie D. Graham asks
me.
savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
That's me. Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure, who gets us on the air all the time. I'm Bonnie D. Happy to be here. Is it really September 10th? Do we really already have Labor Day? Is summer really over? Are we really heading for changing of the clocks in a couple weeks? Oh my goodness gracious. Happy to be here. And this is one of my favorite topics because we're all interested in what is our health? What are life sciences, which is a bigger topic than our own health? What is happening with AI and technology and helping us improve our health? Because there's a lot of people say, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So there you go. I've invited back an extraordinary panel of futurists who've been with me. We've done part 1 and part 2 already, and they're back for part 3. I want you all to wave hello. We are on LinkedIn, Joe and Aparna and John. We are on Facebook twice, 2 waves to Facebook, and we are on YouTube. There we are. And let me read my opening and then we'll get started. So, welcome to Technology Revolution, the Future of Now show. The future of healthcare, life sciences, and AI, that's what we want to know. Host Bonnie D, with her Scarlett mic by her side, is joined by 3 savvy futurists for her Into the Future ride. Joe Miles, wave hello. Aparna Seksaria, wave hello. And John Wilson, wave hello too, sharing their exciting predictions with me and with you. So watch or listen as me, Bonnie D, explores life sciences and AI's boundless sea. And here we go. When I call your name, you gotta wave. Here we go. Joe Miles is up. From supply chain roots, his career took flight. Tech opened the door, 3 decades in sight. In healthcare and life sciences, Joe's impact is clear, guiding solutions with vision each year. He's built strong teams with talent to show, product and pipeline to help business grow. A traveler seasoned 3 million miles tallied, with family beside him, Joe's adventures are rallied. A marathon runner with grit in his stride. Now cycling and yoga keep wellness allied. Scholar and athlete, his balance beguiles. Let's welcome a leader, the thoughtful Joe Miles. Do you like that, Joe?
Wow, Bonnie, I'm impressed. That's rather humbling. I must admit.
I'm glad. I just wanted to get you to smile. Sylvie and I worked very hard on that one. That's a refresh from the last one. Now we've got Aparna is back from a mid-sized town where her passions began. Science and problem solving shaped her grand plan. She studied technology, business combined, innovation to better the patient in mind. In consulting, she started with sharp R&D views. Pharma and med device challenges she would choose. Global assignments expanded her sight across regions complex, Aparna led with insight. Now SAP's leader in life sciences space, transforming development at a digital pace. Her mantra is clear, good enough will not do. Aparna strives for the better with vision so true. Aparna?
Thank you, Bonnie. That's the best intro I ever heard of myself. So yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. John's expectations are very high. I hope I can meet them now. From payer to provider to tech's global stage, John Wilson blends healthcare skills with a scholar's sage. Kellogg, Stanford, Harvard all shaped his quest, with degrees in MPH fueling his best. At Highmark and Medicaid, equity grew. Then Elevance Health brought new visions through. At Google Cloud, John co-led the way, sales enablement strong in healthcare's array. Now Ferrum Health's voice in AI's domain, product marketing guides clinical gain. A traveler, a foodie, a mentor with gold, John lives by the motto his parents once told. John?
That's very nice. I love it.
I'm glad. So let me finish now. We're just going to say, welcome my life sciences futurists for part 3 of our healthcare AI ride in this realm where futures gleam, tech and health shape one bright dream. Stick around with us for the next hour and see as we explore AI's boundless sea. We all good? Everybody seems happy with the intro. Joe, have you recovered yet?
I have. I think we probably need to pay some homage to ChatGPT for the assisting you in that process that you
It's
all.
Sylvie. She's Sylvie. And we speak in
Sorry,
French. And
sorry.
that's okay. And the funny thing is that unless I say in English, she will send me these intros, draft them, and then I go over them. But she will send them to me in French, and I
Well,
speak.
your prompts have really matured. They're quite good now, apparently.
All I did was say, Joe's been on the show so many times. Would you please give me a fresh version? And in 8 seconds, there you are. And I approve it. So there we go. Joe, thank you. I'm glad you're happy. Joe, let's go to your opening quote. By the way, did anybody want to add anything about anything new since we spoke last? Let me see when you were here last, a couple of months ago. Let me go back to my opening in here and see. Part two was on August 21st. Is that possible? Oh, 2024? Seriously, it's been a year.
That's
John's
right.
been on some of my other shows, so I got, wow, it's been a year. Anybody want to bring anything up? John, I know you changed companies, Aparna, anything? Let's go around the table. Joe, anything new you want to share with us?
Just continuing to try and deal with this crazy world that's iterating so quickly with AI, and it's interesting times for sure.
And I want to ask you, what is with the new background? We've never seen this. Where is it and why are we seeing it today, Joe? Come on, get a dish.
That is a stock background of one of my favorite cities, Amsterdam, off the Great Canal. It's actually mistaken a lot for Copenhagen, which I actually thought it was initially as well, but that is actually a nice view of Amsterdam. Wonderful city.
It's very, very pretty. Thank you very much. It's interesting that you picked that. It's very colorful and it makes us all want to go take a boat somewhere and go swimming or fishing.
Great,
I
it's a
don't know.
great icebreaker. So in
There you
conversation.
go. It certainly is. Thank you. Aparna, anything new with you?
A lot changed, Bonnie, from last year. I didn't remember that it was August of 2024. August of 2024, we were just looking at predictions, AI, what AI can do. I think the predictions that you are bringing in, the chat GPT was answering in 8 seconds, 10 seconds, we were just doing that count. Now it's, I would say, less than a second, everything is coming. So a lot changed in 1 year. AI is everywhere. Earlier, AI was only accessible to few, and then we could just use it for fun. But now we really need to make it to use in a different way in everyday world. So a lot changed. Yeah.
There you go. Anything new with your job? Anything new with you at Life Sciences? You still with SAP? Yes,
We're
you
still
are.
with
I think.
SAP, yeah, rocking at SAP, and we have to speak AI every single day. That's what changed SAP. Yeah.
Really? Isn't
Yep.
that
It's part
interesting?
of our job description. Speak about AI every day.
Wow.
Just
Well, when
kidding, but yeah, yeah.
when I I was there from 2011 to 2019, and I started this show. I don't know if Joe, if you remember, Parna, I didn't know you then. I don't think I knew John then. I started Coffee Break with Game Changers for SAP, and
Yeah.
the buzzword that nobody understood that I tried to get them to understand was thought leadership roundtable. That we could have a conversation about a topic without
Yep.
having a dollar sign attached to it. And we could actually get people to think about the company as a
Yep.
thought leader and then say, oh, I
Yep.
want to get some software. I want to get a solution. I want to get
Yep.
a system. Oh, SAP does that. And
Yep.
people didn't. I had bosses, a partner who threatened to shut my shows down because they said you're not bringing in any sales. And I said, but that's not what thought leadership is.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different approach.
It's
So
strategy. Yeah. That's
I
what I
fought
do.
that battle for a long, long time. There you
Yep.
go. And now here we are in Technology Revolution. John Wilson, what's new with the new company? Tell us.
It's going pretty well. It's been about 7 or 8 weeks now. So yeah, super excited. As I mentioned and last time I was with you, we're doing clinical AI in health systems. So it's been great.
What is clinical AI? We need a definition. How do you
I think
describe that?
yeah, and the reason we say clinical is because ultimately it's different than Gen AI and different from other domains of AI. But essentially, we deal with clinical apps that cover certain service lines like radiology, cardiology, et cetera. So these are actually FDA validated applications that are being used in health systems. And so what's difficult is for health systems to govern all of that, measure the ROI, and be able to ensure that's deployed properly and monitored. So
Very well put. Thank you very much. And Joe, I'm going to snag you for my cool dude show one of these days because John has done it and he'll tell you how much fun it is. And Aparna, I can get you for my Saucy Dames show if you'd like. We'll talk about that because I have great respect for both of you. John's been on several of my other shows, and John, you got to tell them how much fun you've had. Okay, let's get to a point of contact here. What we're talking about today. Future of Life Sciences and AI. Let's start with the opening quotes. Joe Miles, I almost didn't accept this quote because it got me scared, and Joe has picked a quote from Indiana Jones, played by Harrison Ford. Of course, the movie 1981 action adventure film. Can anybody remember back that far? 81. Oh, Joe? 45 years ago? Seriously? And the quote is from, of course, The Raiders of the Lost Ark. Do I have to tell anybody? Directed by Steven Spielberg. Oh my goodness. Based on a story by George Lucas and Philip Kaufman. Harrison Ford, globe-trotting archaeologist vying with the German forces to recover the long-lost Ark of the Covenant, which is said to make an army invincible. We'll leave it there. My goodness gracious. Here's the quote Joe picked. I'm shaking, Joe. Snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes? Okay, Joe, what in the world does it have to do with our topic? Please.
Well, pretty much nothing at some level, but I've always enjoyed the movie and was just looking for something. But no, where I was going with that is, um, if you think about what we're faced with now, and a lot of in life sciences, given all of the challenges we have with regulatory approvals and documentation and the scientific studies that go on, the research that goes on, the commercialization of a product, some really, really difficult things. And where I was just kind of take that was just how AI now is really helping address a lot of those either mundane, cumbersome, difficult, time-consuming processes, whether it be in the areas of regulatory submissions where you're having to look for, having to compile these thousands and 10,000 page NDAs, BLAs, INDs, submissions, the complexity around that, the science around all of the personalized medicine, genomic analysis that goes on now, and how AI is really at the center of that, and really whether it's using just simple automation to automate very mundane processes so that researchers can focus on research, or taking it even further where we're looking now at leveraging AI to do analysis of vast amounts of clinical and scientific data to be able to identify high probability compounds or molecules or proteins that potentially could be the basis of a drug that's rolled out commercially to solve some of these many problems and many disease states that we have. And so it was really just trying around. We continue to see the use of now with agents becoming so prominent. And I'm a big believer in agents. As one of my first prediction is wrapped around agentic automation and what that entails. The world of an agent now is really changing and automating in ways that we've just never been able to do before. And it's really exciting to see how that's being applied from a research perspective in R&D all the way through to commercial processes and manufacturing and some of the more complex enterprise processes across life sciences. So it's a really exciting time in that regard.
Thank you very much, Joe. And just in case any of our viewers, listeners don't know why we use the term life sciences, because we're talking about healthcare, basically. Joe, can you just give me a quick link between the two terms?
Well, life sciences is really the manufacturing kind of broader base of the industry where they're producing the products, they're delivering the products. The ecosystem can expand out into things like your CMOs, your CDMOs, clinical development, manufacturing organizations. So it's a broader view of that, but primarily around the manufacturing base who are preparing these really life-changing therapies as opposed to the payer provider side of healthcare, which is the more, kind of, if you create the delineation, really more around the provider and the payer side of it as opposed to the manufacturing base. So,
okay, transactional payer provider side versus, can I say that, transactional versus manufacturing? And yeah, is that okay?
they might take exception to transactional, but
Okay, that's the way we think about it. Okay, let's go on. Aparna, I'm looking at your quote. Thank you, Joe. Aparna is quoting Harvey Specter, played by Gabriel Macht, who I have seen photos recently. He was wearing a beard and a mustache. Doesn't look anything like he did when he starred in Suits, USA Network legal drama TV series 2011 to 2019. My goodness, this is a conversation he's having with Mike Ross, played by Patrick J. Adams. Suits was created and written by Aaron Korsh and set in a fictional New York City corporate law firm. It follows Mike Ross, who's a college dropout, but wow, does he have a memory? He can look at a book and know exactly what it says, remember it, photographic, and he becomes an associate to and a charismatic intern with Harvey Specter, who's a very successful lawyer, and eventually they're found out that they lied about his education. But anyway, who cares? Okay, here is the quote Aparna has selected. Harvey is saying to Mike, "You have a gift, but a gift is nothing without the right mindset." Okay, Aparna, why don't you relate this to our topic, please?
Isn't that right, Bonnie? I mean, it's even in personal life, right? We get a lot of gifts, but if the gift is are not taken in the right mindset, it means really nothing. Opportunities, name it anything, right? And that really comes to AI as well. Without question, it's one of the greatest gifts we have had in the recent history here. It can decode genomic data. John would know that in seconds, sometimes less than seconds. And it can optimize clinical trials, personalize treatments, forecast disease outbreaks. It is not in a reactive mode anymore. It's in the forecasting mode. It's so powerful that we can actually see the future of medicine, where it's going to go. But that's a huge catch here. A gift such as AI, so powerful tool, is not of value if you don't use it wisely and you don't use it at the right time as well. It is not just using it wisely, but it's at the right time and the right opportunity that you grab with it. And with the right mindset. And in life sciences, right mindset means we are a cautious world. We all know that we are a very cautious world. We don't adopt technology pretty easily. We are skeptical about what it can do to supply chains or patients. But that's where we have to little shift our mindset and be a little curious than cautious. So where we are willing to explore AI-driven insights, even when they challenge really traditional methods. And while challenging those traditional methods, the other thing we need to keep in mind is ethics over efficiency, because we should be using AI to improve outcomes without compromising the patient trust, data integrity, many other things that are very core to our life sciences values. So keep up with the values over there. And seeing AI is not just a tool, but as we should see AI as a partner in what is possible and reimagine what is possible. And when this mindset kind of meets this capability, which is AI, that's when breakthrough is going to happen. And that's when we actually move from treating diseases to actually preventing it, from generic drugs to personalized therapies, from reactive care to actually predictive health. It's the mindset, the courage to rethink, relearn, reimagine in the right framework that can turn this AI gift into an impact. That's where my quote is, my favorite quote. You have a gift, but gift is nothing without the right mindset. It applies to everywhere.
Thank you. Very well said. And you used a very important word, courage.
Yep.
Courage to reimagine. And isn't what you said the same truth, the truth that applies to any new technology? It's how you use it, how you apply it for good, and the right place, the right time, the right people, the right way, the right intentions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the right mindset, to adopt it. Actually, I don't want to take a lot of time. I know we have to go around, but I was sitting in a dentist office with a fancy equipment and everything for my crown. And I was curious and asked, okay, this is a fancy equipment. What are you going to do with it? Oh, we have this equipment for a year, but we don't know how to use it. That equipment actually can measure your teeth, crown, without actually putting any gooey substance in your mouth. You don't need an imprint. It can actually measure everything by itself when you're just moving it across. So you're not using such a fancy equipment, and then you're using still the traditional method. So you can have all the technology possible at your disposal. You can have everything at your disposal, but if you do not have the right mindset and to adopt it and reimagine what you can do with it, it's of no use. So
thank you. I remember those gooey things, the gagging on those impressions for a crown or for a bridge or something. It's like, I got it out of my mouth now, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was not fun. Well, that's encouraging. Thank you for that anecdote. We appreciate that. Let's go around to John. John is quoting Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt, Fight Club, 1999. We're getting a little closer to the actual time now. Action crime film directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Helena Bonham Carter, based on the novel Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. I hope I got that right. An unnamed narrator, played by Edward Norton, who is an insomniac, bored and discontented with his white-collar job, forms an underground fight club with a devil-may-care soap salesman, Tyler, played by Brad Pitt, and becomes embroiled with an impoverished but beguiling woman, Marla Singer, Helena Bonham Carter, of course. The club has strict rules and involves men who are also fed up with their mundane lives. And here's the quote, John. I can't believe you found this quote. It's wonderful. The things you own end up owning you. That's another good one. Joe, we'll leave the snakes aside. We've got mindsets and we've got owning here. So we've got some really major quotes, but we'll leave we snakes in the mix. John, how'd you find this and what does it have to do with our topic? Go.
So, well, the funny thing is, so I recently moved. So, that was a real literal quote for me because I needed to get rid of a lot of things that ultimately I was just kind of attached to and didn't need anymore. But I think it definitely is applicable to AI in the sense that what's hard for a lot of organizations to do is to move past the technical debt that they've created for many, many years. And that's difficult for any organization, I don't care what size you are. And so I think that it's directly applicable from the stance of saying, how can you move forward if you're not willing to kind of let go of all that technical debt, some costs, et cetera, that you've accumulated? So that's kind of how I look at it. But I love the movie. It's a classic. And it's been quoted a lot for a lot of good reasons.
Very, very interesting. I'm sure there are some deep implications for AI owning you, the things you own. How do we use it, right?
Yeah,
Aparna, the
yeah.
mindset, how do we apply it? Very good. Thank you all for the quotes. Appreciate it. Let's go to predictions. Joe, I'm tempted to go to your prediction number 2. Let's see if it's okay with you. The first AI discovered drug will receive approval by 2030. And we're now almost at the end of 2025, so that's not far off. Joe, can I mention the 3 drugs you're talking about? May I?
Oh, you can, yeah.
Okay, all right. Devil may care. There we go. In silico medicine is developing rentocertib, formerly ISM 001-55055, the first drug for which both the target and compound were discovered using generative AI. It's well into phase 2A trials for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, IPF, and has shown promise in improving lung function. I bet this will have great use. Joe, you want to talk about the concept of what you're talking about here? I think this is a very interesting prediction. Please go ahead.
Well, I think, AI, and we talk about the different scenarios, and as Aparna, I think, accurately stated about the focus of all of us now is on AI and its many implications. R&D continues to be probably one of the leading areas across life sciences that is adopting and leveraging AI, one, because of the magnitude and the power of the capability, but also it's certainly an area where it's ripe for transformation, given the 10 plus years it takes to develop a drug, probably close to $2.5 to $3 billion in spend. So it's very obviously very, very challenging. And there's a tremendous opportunity to reduce the time to market, to improve and allow life-saving drugs to come to market. And these are just some of them. Now, I cited 3 in the prep work that we did on this, and it's not as much about the drug specifically, although thank you for pronouncing the drug. I can never pronounce those.
You're welcome.
Bonds, but it is in 2A, and it's just beginning phase 2A. So a lot of the research is quick to point out that going from phase 2 to phase 3 is not a trivial activity, right? And there's still a lot of work to be done. So it's probably one of the farthest along, and there's several others that are cited in phase 1 and earlier. I think the opportunity for using AI to do a lot of analysis of these vast amounts of data, to be not only doing the simulations, which has really already been out there for a couple of years in terms of molecular simulation capabilities, but now looking at very large, complex molecules, to be able to look and use the AI and learning from all the different sources that are out there. It's really bringing a whole different level of speed and expertise to the table. And I think we're going to start seeing this, right? This is not going to happen overnight, but I think by 2030, that's not that really radical of a prediction. Not that far, but it's there are several. It's not as if it's just starting now. This has been going on for some time. So it's an exciting time in that regard. There's some very, very complex therapies that companies are working on, but proving to be, if you think about some of the new cell and gene therapies, some of the new personalized medicines, they are remarkably effective and really bringing some quite literally life-saving therapies to market. So we look forward to seeing and benefiting from all of that innovation to come.
Thank you, Joe. Let's go around the table. Aparna and or John, you want to wiggle a little finger at me if you want to say something? I know, Aparna, you have something. One of your predictions is on this topic if you want to talk about it now. You want to unmute?
Yeah, the personalized therapies, generics, that was one of my predictions there. The generics market is gonna vanish, or it is gonna go be different in the future. The personalized therapies are gonna take over, though they are expensive, but it's not gonna be a one size fit for all. It's gonna be just for you kind of drugs tailored to genetic profiles, biomarkers, and we are already seeing that industry is spending a lot in this. Not only because customers want it, but also because there is a patent cliff that we call in our world. Many patents are expiring, and there is going to be the companies have to renovate. And for renovation and addressing the individual therapy market, there is no other way than using AI to fast track what exactly the profile is and what kind of drug and dosage needs to be manufactured. Yeah, that was one of my predictions, Joe. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. John, anything you want to say to Joe?
No, I agree. I mean, I think that we're definitely headed there. I think I come at it from the lens of how can we leverage AI for cardiometabolic health from the health system side. And so I think there are all kinds of things we can do to connect those dots. But if you think about it, kind of upstream of that to some extent is or maybe downstream is from a pharmaceutical end, which is, how do we build those personalized therapies with all the information we have, the research, et cetera, to solve that particular problem. But I just think there's so much we can do on the health system side too, in terms of being able to leverage the data we have access to, and then be able to help with lifestyle changes for patients. So
lifestyle changes, but don't let your life own you. You got to own your life, your health. There we go. Okay, I'm going to flip that one around. Thank you very much, Joe. Joe, anything you want to say back to your colleagues on the panel before I move on?
No, I think I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, Aparna, but
You didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, it's all good. I think that's where we are all prepping, right, Joe? The data that needs to really to enable this kind of discovery, this kind of innovation needs to be in place. I think even from SAP perspective, we are working a lot on streamlining the data, putting the data in the right structure, segmentation, right? So that your innovation can pass through when it really needs to pass through. Yeah. I think we're all working towards the same.
Yeah, and I think part of that, Bonnie, is one of my other predictions is kind of the extension of that moves into more the marketplace side and the economics of it. And I think that's something that AI will help us in really driving down the cost of that in the economy, in the economics of some of these therapies. They are extraordinarily expensive right now. And hopefully that will be a big part of that innovation too, is reducing that cost and making the model much more achievable. So
we can get to that. I think we're going to have time for a lot of predictions today. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, everybody, for that. Joe, it's a conversation. You can't steal anyone's thunder. We're all just talking about it. So the more intersections, the more lines that go between the predictions and among them, the better it is as far as I'm concerned. So, Aparna, I'm going to pick your prediction number 1 and number 3. I'm very personally interested in number 1. Let me just add number 3 here. She says, we may not hear the term blockbuster drug for long. We can get to that in a second. But the one I'm interested in, Aparna, is you say AI will make the healthcare CROs obsolete. Now, I know somebody who's an MD who was hired by a CRO, and it was a very interesting brief ride, and they left. They didn't want to stay there. So why don't you explain, please, what is a CRO, what's the purpose, and why do you say they will be obsolete? I think this will be very interesting to everybody. Go ahead, Aparna.
Yeah, I use a strong word, obsolete. I think I'm going to offend a lot of people over there after this. I'm going to get some calls, but yeah, it's going to happen sooner or later. The obsolescence will start its phase soon. If you step back and see what CROs have been traditionally doing, right, the contract research organizations, they are the backbone for a lot of clinical trials. Even if it's for a small organization, large enterprise, everyone uses contract research organizations, CROs, what we call in our world. They kind of manage the trial design, end-to-end trial design, protocol development. They go to the site selection where you need to actually recruit the patients and what kind of patient profiles they need. They also take care of the data collection, monitoring the patients, dosages, changes in the patient patterns, and the reporting. Reporting is a bigger aspect to all of these. And beyond this, actually, CROs also help with regulatory documentation, compliance, everything end to end. Traditionally, that's what they do. So the big pharma, small pharma kind of invent the drug, give it to CRO, and kind of ask them to actually take them through all the phase one, phase two, at least till it really reaches some viability in a way in supply chain. So this is actually to reduce internal burden and also to tap into specialized expertise. So the CROs kind of work with the multiple organizations. It's not just one organization. And this model is slow. It's very expensive. I mean, I hear both ways. It's cheaper when you're a smaller company. It's expensive as you are trying to get bigger. And it's very fragmented. The communication is pretty much, I would say, very fragmented, how you kind of communicate with CROs. It's not a system. Sometimes it's really emails, Excel spreadsheets, PDF documents. It's so fragmented. And I work with a lot of sponsors. They complained about delays, quality, inconsistent quality. We have seen that in COVID time, how CROs can actually really impact the quality of the drugs. And there is a lack of transparency because CRO kind of works in their own isolated world. They do not share a lot of information. So if you look at this entire gamut, right, trial design, site selection, data collection, AI is now automating many of these functions. Protocols can be generated using your historical trial data, predictive modeling. Even SAP, we are launching something called as a trial data predictive modeling based on your clinical trials data that is already publicly available. And patient recruitment is optimized. We have real world data. Machine can learn, look at patterns. Should we be recruiting more patients, more women, more men, more at a different age group? So all this can be automated. And also monitoring in the real time, right? AI can actually flag anomalies in the data that is being actually pumped into these drugs. And regulatory submissions. I would say majority of the companies have already adopted AI in regulatory submissions as how they can actually generate certain documentation that is needed from a huge set of data. I was looking at this prediction and then I was curious and looking through searching a couple of things, and I found I'm not doing a marketing for unlearn.ai, but there is a company called unlearn.ai which is using digital twins to actually simulate your control arms in clinical trials, meaning that placebo groups, they are actually simulating those so that you don't need a lot of placebo groups and you can accelerate the timelines. That's really a challenge to the CRO model, the entire CRO model that's been there for decades, I would say. So I'm seeing that CROs have a huge challenge. They are not going to be replaced by competition. They are going to be replaced by platforms. So where we are going towards decentralized, data-driven, AI-powered platforms, they are a huge threat to these contract research organizations. Yeah.
They've been warned by Aparna today. You heard it today. Before we go to the blockbuster drug term, which I think Joe would want to comment on, John or Joe, anything you want to say about CROs, the fate, according to Aparna, Joe or John?
I would weigh in on that. So I think it's an interesting projection, Aparna. I also would agree that maybe obsolete maybe isn't the right term you were thinking about, but I think if you consider the fact that outsourcing is such a significant strategy within life sciences, it continues to evolve, both from the clinical perspective and also from the commercial perspective. I would agree with you that I think the role of the CRO is going to change pretty dramatically, and I think we're already starting to see that. I would probably say more, though, I see that weighing in that there's an evolution that's going to occur where a CRO is going to maybe evolve more so into the CDMO, which is a newer term, the clinical development and manufacturing organization. So how can they develop the protein in the molecule and then take it through the trial all the way into commercial manufacturing? Because we continue to see the outsourcing of manufacturing a continued trend, and the CDMO they're as much CMOs as they are CROs at some level, and kind of working on that development side. And I think it allows them to be at the heart and be right in the center of the development of the molecule, the development of the manufacturing to evolve from clinical manufacturing to commercial manufacturing. That's not a simple task. And as well as just manufacturing large molecule biologics is a very complex process. So I would say more maybe the evolution that we're going to see where the CROs are kind of evolving more into that CDMO model, which hopefully gives them a broader addressable market and also expands the capacity across the industry, which is a bit of a concern right now within the manufacturing base.
Thank you. John, want to weigh in on this?
Not particularly.
Okay.
I think not that I don't want to. It's just that I think I can see both sides. And I think we're just gonna have to let it play out to see how it all shakes out. But I think that it really could go either way. It's just hard to say, honestly.
It's hard to say. And we could take that word obsolete and we could make it evolving. Yes, Aparna?
I would say so, yeah.
Evolving, but we're not sure where. Go ahead, John.
But I would just say that I think it comes back down to also when you look at how CROs deliver value today, how is that going to change going forward? And can they find a way to evolve, as AI continues to make a big impact, to be able to deliver more value in the future? Like, to me, it's almost like a value spectrum question, if you will. And so that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Aparna made a really good point too around some of the synthetic data side of the house and how that construct is going to radically change trials in general, right? You will not necessarily need the number of patients that you did before, given things like synthetic data and AI kind of playing a role there. So that I think that will be really fascinating to see that unfold.
100%. And even, Dennis from DeepMind has talked about going with an artificial human cell, right? Being able to get to that point where you can do that. And if you can do that with consistency and so forth, forget about it. Now you may not need any actual humans to do clinical trials, right? So that would be amazing.
And no animals need to be sacrificed either, right?
That too.
I had to say, I'm thinking of the rats. Okay. Aparna, one more before we go to John's predictions. I just want you to explain or defend. We may not hear the term blockbuster drug for long. What do you mean?
Yeah, again, I would say very contradict. It's not going to be an easy one to digest for a lot of people. But if you look at the golden age of pharma, right, it revolved around blockbuster drugs. A single medication usually generates a couple of billions in annual revenue. These drugs were for mass market conditions, maybe like cholesterol, depression, acid reflux. They were prescribed to millions. They weren't just treatments. They were literally financial engines for a lot of companies. And pharma companies have built entire business models around them. And R&D pipelines were optimized. They chased the next big hit. What is going to be the next blockbuster? And this is going to change. The concept of what blockbuster drug means is going to change soon because, like Joe kind of pointed out, it's precision medicine. One size fits all is not going to be there. It's just for you. The dosage is going to be just for you. The taste and flavors, what kids like, what do not like, it is going to be a little bit more as well. And there is going to be a smaller revenue potential per drug. And of course, there is patent cliffs, like I was mentioning in the earlier minutes. There are patent cliffs that are happening. And even regulatory incentives, right, where FDA is actually promoting the fast tracking of orphan drugs, rare disease therapies, which serve few patients and which are very critical for the market. That's also one of the reasons I would say. And if you look at the approval trends, they kind of support that FDA is kind of approving those biologics and specialty drugs than traditional pills. So what does it mean for the industry, right? It's not the blockbuster is not going to be dead. It's evolving. So instead of chasing scale, I think pharma would be chasing specificity. And instead of marketing to millions, it's going to be designed for a couple of thousands of people and the targeted market. So that there are multiple niche therapies rather than one kind of blockbuster for entire audience. And the shift is also opening door for data-driven platforms, and SAP plays a big role in that, where we need to support, because it's all entirely driven by data here, so that companies can manage this complex clinical development to commercial launches. So yeah, we may not hear this blockbuster drug for much longer, not because we stopped innovating, but because we have to innovate smarter. And it's what fits better. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying the idea that it will be, if you all remember, a couple of years ago, we heard make for me manufacturing, right? You could order a pair of sneakers that had a certain amount of bling, or the right shoe was different from the left shoe, or it had a signature signature on it or whatever it was make for me, and how do manufacturers be able to take an order or like we do with AI, a prompt that gets a specific result. And it sounds like medication's going that way. Let's move on to John's predictions. John, I have two here I'd like to read together and see where you want to go with them. Number two is AI will become a second opinion people actually use. This is very important. Instead of Googling their symptoms, patients will expect their health system's AI to provide an instant, evidence-based read that they can compare to what the clinician tells them. That demand for AI, oh, this is a tough one here, John. Truth checks, I'm putting air quotes around them, will reshape how trust is built in care. And then let me add prediction three. I think these go together nicely. AI will personalize communication. For example, a radiology follow-up letter won't be the same for a 72-year-old patient living alone as for a 40-year-old patient who has a spouse and three kids. AI will translate clinical results into language, tone, and next steps that match the person's context. So let's talk about context and second opinion. I think these are very powerful. They're not as medication or medical specific as Joe and Aparna have been doing, but this is more on the cultural side, if I can say that. So, John, why don't you expand these for us? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I think the first one is really interesting. When you think of how AI is being used today, I mean, ChatGPT's been around for a little over 2 years, I think, right? And ultimately, I think the average person, even my mother-in-law is doing this, where she'll put things in ChatGPT when she gets home from the doctor. And we work with her to anonymize it a little bit, obviously, because you don't really know what's happening with your data per se, right? And I don't mean to malign OpenAI. I'm just saying you have to be careful. But ultimately, I think there's a certain level of trust that the average person has in these tools to be able to already be a second opinion to an extent, or just to help clarify. I heard this from my doctor, or I got this particular test result. Explain it in a language I can understand, right? And so I think that that's going to be tweaked even further and optimized better. And I think that at some point we're going to see actual health systems embrace it more as well. And clinicians are already using Open Evidence, which is a platform where they can quickly use Gen AI to better understand from a research perspective. Hey, I have, my patient has these particular symptoms, or I think that this diagnosis makes sense, but they're going to Open Evidence to be able to then get additional, information to be able to clarify for themselves. So a lot of that right now, how clinicians are accessing AI, it's not really patient facing. So what I'm envisioning is that there's a throughway where now it is patient facing. The patient understands that AI is part of that workflow. They're embracing that, and it's providing that secondary opinion.
Okay. And what about the customizing of the reporting from the clinician to the patient where it's contextual? Let's talk about context.
I think the contextual stuff is really important because ultimately, I don't think even when clinicians try their hardest, whether it's a doctor, a nurse, or what have you, to be able to convey something to a particular patient, I think it's difficult for them to do that, one. And I think, two, it becomes even more difficult when you think of how people, different languages folks speak, different culture, different educational level, et cetera. And so I think that, AI being part of that process to where it can make it that much easier to reach someone on their particular level, I think it's a game changer. Absolutely. And so I think we're headed there as well. And we're seeing this already if you think about it outside of the healthcare context. Just real quick, Apple had an event yesterday where they talked about, AirPods and live translation, right? So you're traveling and you can literally just hold your AirPods. It can listen in that particular foreign language, translate it into your preferred language in your AirPods. And then you can speak in your own language, let's say English, right? And then on your phone, it's going to turn into the foreign language that person originally spoke to you in. And so you think about how fast it's moving, right? And all that's, of course, powered by AI. Then I think you're just taking it to the next level and saying, in the healthcare context, how can we better leverage it so that we are doing the same thing, essentially? So I'm excited about what that looks like.
And I'm going to add one more prediction from you, John, that goes along with this more, I'll say, cultural side of what we're talking about today. John says AI will merge clinical care with lifestyle coaching. Instead of seeing healthcare as separate from daily life, patients will experience AI, get this, advising on their diet, their exercise, their sleep in ways that are tied directly to their medical record, collapsing the wall between health and care. That seems very profound to me. Why don't you expand that briefly and let's see what Joe and Aparna have to say. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I think that ultimately we've been trying in healthcare, we've been trying for so long to kind of break that barrier. And I think it's really difficult because people see them as these two very, very different things. For instance, if you're not currently, let's say, taking any medications or anything like that, maybe you don't really think about healthcare as a thing. You just think of your well-being, and maybe you work out, maybe you don't, or what have you. But I think we get into a cycle of certain habits in terms of how we eat, how we operate, and how we sleep, and we kind of disconnect that from what our future self can look like and the kind of life we'll have. It's easy to do that, I think, particularly when you're younger and you're healthy. And so I think that this collapse is going to happen because ultimately we're going to have more tools at our disposal to be able to fully recognize certain signals. And then those signals lead to certain outcomes. It's going to be more clear to us, I think. A good example is sleep. I think maybe 10, 15 years ago, it's all about what would they say, wake up and grind culture. And it was a thing, right? The less sleep you got, the better because it meant you worked harder. And I think that's completely flipping around. You have companies like 8 Sleep, for instance, that are selling, $4,000 mattresses, and people are buying them.
Five.
Yeah.
My kids talked me into it last year. 5, and it tells me everything I don't want to know about my sleep. Go ahead.
It gives you all of this data that, you could argue you could get from wearables or whatever, but ultimately it's passive. And so it doesn't require you to do anything except hop into the bed. And now you have access to all this data you wouldn't have access to. Well, is that healthcare or is that wellness? What is that? To me, it's the blurring of those lines because it's going to give you the signals you need to better take care of yourself. So
there you go. Thank you very much. Let's go around the table and talk about context and culture and second opinion. Joe or Aparna, who wants to go first?
Well, I'll take exception to John's comment about the grind comment. I lived through that. Okay, John, we all lived through that. I think what John's bringing up, and he usually brings a very unique perspective and excellent perspective as always, but just the whole patient engagement side of the house, right? And it was kind of what I was, I think, pointing out a little bit earlier, that AI right now being focused so much on the science and on the drug development and those really hardcore areas of the manufacturing base. But there's a broader context, really, with how do we engage patients? How can you leverage AI to do something as personalized as reviewing a medical record, right? That's just never happened before. Even just getting access to a medical record and now doing it in a way that you not only review that record, you actually tie that back to providing insights and opportunities and directions and helping the patient help themselves, right? We're all guilty of our guilty pleasures that we all like to enjoy that aren't the healthiest.
Uh-oh.
And a reminder of that and kind of helping people do that. And that goes down to diet, it's exercise, and being able to tailor that to, as you pointed out, John, a 73-year-old retiree versus a 40-year-old mother of 3 with a spouse. That's a very, very different way of engaging the patient and a much more effective way if they can personalize that. And AI just makes that more scalable, right? It makes it more reasonable and more effective from a business perspective. It's not a huge amount of cost in order to leverage the AI to do some of that, right? So I think that's a really exciting opportunity to have significant impact on society while at the same time leveraging the technology. So
I think the second opinion is the one that I'm having a little issue with because we know about the hiccups and the hallucinations. And I read today in one of my AI report newsletters I get that said that they're trying to train AI models to say, I don't know, rather than to making SHIT up.
Yeah.
Making shit up.
I'm glad you brought that up, Bonnie, because Open Evidence is trying to solve for that problem too.
Yeah.
Because they're partnering with medical journals, so everything they're sourcing is actually from a citation, and they can point to it. And so you're not getting into that hallucination lane because the workflow for them to deliver information to a doctor is an actual citation from a journal. And so I think we're gonna head toward that path too, where the AI is continually getting better and better simply by being able to show its work, right? And if you're doing that consistently, then it's less of an issue.
Well, in fact, we have customers who are actually using some of our agent capabilities to leveraging the documentation, leveraging the all of the content behind that, and providing an agent-based perspective on whether that be around patient eligibility, patient recruitment, all different types of patient-facing type of use cases that are, I think they're really effective and really exciting to see that happening in the marketplace.
Yeah, and
Aparna, I want to get you. Go ahead, Aparna,
yeah,
please.
and there's a downside to it as well, as how I see it. It's because there's too much data. I mean, you don't need some kind of tracking. I mean, in my days, it's like, okay, eat well, meditate, exercise, and sleep. You don't need to monitor when your REM is every single day. I mean, which day you slept well. Next day, if you don't sleep well, yeah, you need to fix those things. There's too much information there. So what do you do with that information also matters. I mean, it kind of gives you bias. I had a friend who was monitoring every single diet and glucose. Of course, if you eat, you'll have glucose spikes. So it's not diabetes. So don't worry about it. Don't go to doctor. So it's like education that needs to come with it. What do you do with the data, right? And using it for conscious decision making rather than just having one more set of things that you need to track every day. So
there you go.
It's a great point.
I would like AI to tell me when certain things spike my blood pressure, when certain things that happen. I would like to know. I don't need a watch or a ring to tell me that, but I want to know not just what the number is, but what the impact is when something makes me upset and everything in my body is just going into fight or flight mode or anxiety mode, and I can feel it. What was that impact? And I think that's where therapists come in, Joe. Is you need a therapist. Oh yeah, you've got a trauma from when you were 4 years old. We got to get the light therapy and all that and erase the memories. But okay, I want to go around. We have just about 3 minutes left, and I am so appreciative to the three of you for bringing such really interesting predictions. What's your favorite prediction on the topic of life sciences and AI that you would like to see come to pass in the next 5 years? It's just a pop quiz, but let's go around the table. Make it fast. I can give you about 45 seconds each, so we got to keep it really tight. And I'm talking to all of you. So Joe Miles, what would you like to see happen in the area of life sciences and AI in the next by 2030, separate from the drugs? Go ahead.
Well, I think what's going to happen and is happening is the rise of agents and the ability of agents to really take on much more complex end-to-end processes that historically just they weren't able to do because the technology wasn't there. Our ability now to digest and ingest all different types of procedural documentation, regulatory documentation, as John, medical records, those the litany of areas allows them to make decisions and have agency over patients, over production, over quality decision making. I'm really excited about that. We're seeing just tremendous demand in that area, and I think the sky's the limit in terms of the opportunity there. So
thank you. And you used the words digest and ingest. I thought that was interesting. Aparna, you get 45 seconds, real fast. Go.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see all these platforms, wearables, everything combined into one platform, not one blood spike or one day of sleep, doesn't matter. So it should really combine and give a holistic perspective and also throw into some ears, not just a lot of data. Right now, what is happening with AI is just data, data, data. So I need to make sense of the data and use it in a way that I can really predict what is going to happen a few years down the line or what you can prevent from happening. That's what I would like to see.
Thank you. John, you get the last word. Go real fast, 20 seconds.
I think to our partner's point, being able to take in all that data and be able to provide a high level summary of what's going on, it's like signals to the noise, right? There's just too much noise right now and we need better signal. And I think that would be incredibly helpful. And doing it right on your phone or something like that, like make it right there in someone's hands. So I would love that.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the three of you again. It's wonderful to see you. I can't believe it's been a year, and I know you're all really busy, so I appreciate your sharing your time and your expertise with me. And I haven't done this in a long time on the show, but everybody raise your finger. We're going to say no, no, no. Come on, 1, 2, 3. People say the future is already here. Well, it's almost. It's at the doorstep. We know that it's at the edge of AI. But here we go. On the count of 3, I want you to join me saying no, no, no. 1, 2, 3. No, no. Well, that was kind of half-hearted. The future is already here, and we say no. That was the future 3 seconds ago, and the future of now hasn't happened yet, but it's on the way. Let me play the closing here and let's all dance our way out of here.
Are you tired of hearing the future is already here?
See?
We are too.
Yes, we
that may
are.
have been yesterday's future, but today's future hasn't happened yet. Take a deep breath, tune out the hype, the noise, and turn up the volume. Savvy, art of the possible technology visionaries talking about how today's innovations right now are shaping every aspect of our real future.
Wait for
We'll
it.
laser focus our spotlight on buzzworthy tech
Here we go.
like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, augmented reality, and lots more. Clear your calendar and open your mind for Technology Revolution, the future of now. With the most upbeat host on global radio, Bonnie D. Graham. Listen anywhere, anytime, on any device.
Thank you, Ryan Treasure. I'm Bonnie D. Happy to be here. I'll see you all next week. Wave goodbye, everybody, to social.